and welcome to the next episode of Gilded Shadows. So last episode we left off with Morgan in the car with Jack, and yeah, let's dive right back into it. Besides, I figure a bathroom break is in order. We have a long trip ahead of us. Does he have? This is my first time noticing this. He has a little bit of a scar right here. I never noticed that before. What's psi fatigue? From overuse of psi. You have the classic symptoms. I reckon you have a headache the size of the triad right now. Mind fog, elevated heart rate. Well, the headache is a little better. Sleep will help a bit, yeah. What if the others find us? We've been driving for 2 hours, taking a slightly roundabout way back. I'm not sure we're still being tracked at this point. Hopefully not. That didn't instill a lot of confidence. I watched buildings and lights slide past, mine sort of vaguely on what my next move would be. Where would we go from here? What would I do? Maybe this would be my chance to separate myself from Jack and strike out on my own. But even if I did, what then? I sighed again, rubbing out my sore eyes. I still can't connect the net. Yeah, you could be because that could be because someone subjected you to a nano scrambler. Could just be that your psi messed it up. That can happen when your nanosystem isn't equipped to withstand a psi burst like the one you unleashed. I've never seen one of that magnitude. For an untrained Esper to do that, you're lucky you didn't give yourself permanent brain damage. Thanks, Jack. Thanks. That's very comforting. Cyburst. Jack seemed to have spotted a good place to stop because he slowed and turned into the car park of an empty cafe. Okay, now I'm really worried about Ari and Caleb because I thought she just teleported, but apparently she also let out a really strong cyburst. So that's not good. He came to a stop, then changed his mind and drove around the building to park in the alley behind it. Don't know what it is? No, I know. I just didn't intend to release anything like that. And how did you even know about that? You weren't in that building. Oh. I had tracked you there and was outside when it collapsed. I saw the distortion trail you left behind when you teleported. That's how I managed to find you later on. Jack hadn't hidden it from me that he'd been looking for me, but it was still unnerving to hear all that. How how long have you been following me around like this? Let's head inside, Morgan. I promise I'll explain everything. He opened the door and got out, stretching the kinks out of his back. I followed suit, wincing as soon as my feet hit the ground. My knees felt less than steady and I grabbed at the car, which wobbled uncertainly under the sudden weight. Watch out. He reached for us both. I instinctively jerked away from him, the air crackling with energy. And every light, horn, and alarm in his two-seater lit up like crazy. I clapped my hands to my ears as Jack fiddled with the controls, desperate to shut it off. Stop it. I don't know how. Jack let out a growl of frustration and grabbed my shoulders, squeezing just enough to get my attention. Come on, deep breaths. If you release this much energy, even that asshole Magnus might get a lock on this location. And if he doesn't, the bishops will. Then they really will track us down. You have to get a hold of yourself. I took several slow, wheezing breaths as I squeezed my eyes shut and tried to focus. Or tried not to do what I was doing to set the car off. It was hard to relax with the alarms shrieking at us the way they were, not to mention that the screaming pain in my head was back. But the instruments began to die down one by one. Good job, just keep breathing slowly and focus on my voice. Easier said than done. But I did my best until finally the noise stopped and I could open my eyes again without feeling like I would inadvertently blow something up. Ugh, you okay? Feel really dizzy. I'll bet. Let's get you inside, Butterfly. He wrapped an arm around me, and this time I didn't pull away, if only because I needed the extra support to stay upright. As the automatic door slid open, we stepped inside into the warm cafe. Jack gave me a half worried and half amused glance. So I've been wondering this for a while now, but where the hell are your shoes? No idea. I think I lost them when I teleported. I lowered my voice even though no one was around. It looked like the place was an actual kitchen in the back. Whatever staff were on shift must have been back there. There weren't any other customers. Maybe we can do something about them later. I don't have any extras on me, though. It's fine. It's not like I'm expecting to have my wardrobe needs taken care of. For now, it was enough that he got me out of that place. Jack navigated us to a table. I sat and tucked my feet out of view. Jack looked around as he took the seat across from me. Cozy. I hugged his jacket close, wishing I could curl up somewhere and sleep for 10 years. What happens now? Are you going to take me home? I knew it was a long shot. He hadn't been watching me all this time just to take me home after finding me. You know, if I do that, people will only come for you again. I know. I hugged his jacket closer and shrank into my seat a little. Then, what do you want from me? Well, isn't. Well, that's obvious, isn't it? I want you to come with me. Where? Who are you with? He seemed surprised by that phrasing, as if he hadn't expected me to have already divided the people looking for me into groups. I was going to take you to the court. The court that. I lowered my voice as someone came out of the kitchen. A curious owner, perhaps. Jack waved that way and called out to him, ordering 2 coffees. I watched the older man nod, then retreat. That cult? Jack's lips curved up to a smirk. They're not a cult. I have no idea how that rumor got started, but they're just a community of espers living together and keeping each other safe. I don't know how much I believe that, but okay. Living together where? Delphine. It's really the only place for them. The court, huh? I've never heard a single complimentary thing about them, and the concept of them as an innocent community of espers didn't feel right. Yes, Morgan, I am with you on this one. So you're with them? It's not completely correct to say I'm with them. It's not like it's an organization, it's just a group of people trying to keep from being noticed. He said he wouldn't lie to me, but I didn't know if I could believe that. If that's the case, then how did you find out about me? There's a man back at the court who's adept at sensing other espers. He became aware of you a few days ago. And he just sent you to get me out of the kindness of his heart? We knew that other people would seek you out. Endgame, Noir, the host. Noir, that mafia group in Delphine? They're pretty well known for their experiments on espers. Oh, that's great. Most human experimentation is banned, including when it comes to esper genome research. Because the mafia has a great deal of respect for the law, right? That's horrible. I know this may come as a shock to you, but even your own government doesn't respect those kinds of bans. There are more than a few rumors about the work the Triad is doing in that regard as well. Those people looking for you do not have your best interests at heart, I guarantee that. But you and the court do? Why? Because we're the same. The court is made up of people sick of being a part of this chess game between the government and everyone else. Some interesting wording, considering the rankings are all like, chess pieces. Anyway. They just want to live, freely. I studied him wordlessly. I was nowhere near adept enough with any sort of psi abilities to peek inside his mind to see anything more than he wanted to reveal, assuming that was a thing espers could do. Look, I arrived in Cecilis yesterday and spent a lot of time trying to track you down. I wanted to approach you, reach out, try to explain the situation, and, well, prevent everything that happened today. I thought if we could sit down and talk about it, we could work something out. Trust me, I wasn't planning for you to be grabbed off the street by someone else. Do you know who they were? I know this will be a little rough to believe, but they were from Endgame. Endgame, huh? Was that really true? You don't seem surprised to hear that. I had considered the possibility. I just don't understand why they'd kidnap me. First of all, if someone from the court will sit down and talk, why would Endgame yank me off the sidewalk and shove me in a car? They're supposed to protect people. They're basically law enforcement. More like they're just above the law entirely. When it comes to Endgame, I can promise you they're not what people think they are. And there's a lot of things that go on behind closed doors. And in dark alleys, abandoned districts, and sometimes right out in the open. A queen-ranked esper is rare, and they probably weren't quite counting on as many groups to know about you. Acquiring a new queen in secret would be a pretty significant trump card. You're saying they manhandled me, terrified me, and risked my life for a trump card? That's how things on this side work. You want to stay on top. You need trump cards to do that. But isn't that because they're always used? But oh my gosh, I am so sorry, guys. Give me a second. I'm just stumbling over my words today. But isn't that because they're always trying to keep groups like Crimson and Noir at bay without stepping on the government's toes? And maybe even the court too? Just because I haven't heard of you people doing anything horrible doesn't mean you don't. So you're fine with how they handled this? Of course not. I didn't know. My head was hurting too much to make judgment calls about this right now. I know it's a lot to take in. And you'll have to forgive me. Endgame may be heroes to people on this side of the world, but where I'm from, they're just a part of the problem. When the government is corrupt, maybe it needs its toes stepped on a little. I pressed my fingers against the bridge of my nose, squeezing my eyes shut. I didn't know what to believe about any of this. Even if Jack was telling the truth, that didn't mean going with him was the best option. Endgame was still Endgame, and the court was still some weird group off in another country. And if I said I didn't want to go with Jack, would he even let me go? I had no idea. Look, I'm going to step away for a few minutes, go to the restroom. Our coffee should be out soon. He stood and shot me a faint grin as he started away. And the car requires voice authentication to unlock, so don't even think about trying to steal it. I shot him a scowl as he left me at the table and disappeared through a door on the other side of the restaurant. I laid my head on the table and shut my eyes. What was I supposed to do now? How was I supposed to plan my next move? My head was hurting too much to think about it clearly. I just didn't know if I could trust Jack. The whole bit about the court was both confusing and worrying. They didn't have a good reputation no matter what he said. It's true that Cecilus may not get the entire story when it came to news out of Delphine, but I'd heard nothing good about the court. I couldn't imagine myself becoming part of that group. Besides, I thought that guy from earlier today was with them, and that made me worry about it even more. Okay, she must be talking about the guy from the fountain. Jack seemed level-headed, but could I really trust that he wasn't lying to me? As far as I knew, he wasn't from the court at all. He could be with any group. It would be stupid to believe him just because he'd helped me one time. On the other hand, he'd said Caleb and Ari were from Endgame, and I couldn't come up with a single reason to lie about that. Well, maybe to make Endgame look bad so I wouldn't try to go with them? Whatever they'd done seemed unconscionable, but maybe they had a reason. Maybe it was to protect me from people like Jack. Endgame was a group I knew and could trust. Whatever else was true about them, they helped people. Jack was surely right when he implied there was more to them than what the public knew, but I struggled to believe they were secretly evil. Probably. At any rate, they had an army of espers. It wasn't like they couldn't take over if they wanted to, yet they strove hard for neutrality. I let out a frustrated groan. I didn't even know where Ari and Caleb were. A slow tingle started in my feet and made its way up my legs. At first I thought it was just because I was finally warming up. But no, my heart started pounding and there was a sudden intense feeling of something approaching. I rolled around, standing up so fast I overturned my chair. But of course, there was nothing. This was this was similar to what had been happening in the abandoned district, but somehow different. There was no real feeling of being threatened, just of something getting closer. In my mind, I saw a flash of Ari, here, in this cafe, looking down at me. And then it was over. The feeling was gone, and I was left trying to figure out what exactly that had been. I rubbed my throbbing head again. It felt like a dam had burst open inside me. I never used to be able to do this kind of thing. Ugh. Did this mean these two would find us soon? If that was true, what should I do? Okay, I'm pretty sure that this is where the demo officially ended. So things are gonna get interesting from here. Honestly, like, it feels like it has taken so long, um, just to get to the point where we're like out of the demo. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because it does mean the demo was pretty long. But like, ugh, I don't know. I don't even know what episode number this is, but it's taken us a while. So we are on Ari's route, so we're not gonna find Jack and warn him. Even though I feel like Like if we weren't on Ari's route, that's probably what I would go with. We could also wait there and say nothing, try to slip out through the back on foot, or go out through the front to Jack's car. That one is I don't understand this one because he literally told us that we couldn't get into the car anyway because it's locked with voice authentication. Um, so they did. She did say like it felt like Ari. She was seeing flashes of Ari, right? So he's trying to reach out to us. So let's wait and see if anything comes of that. Oh, whoa, okay. The choice will unlock the endgame character routes. Do you want to proceed? Let's go back. Let's save just in case, because right now we don't even know for sure that Ari is with endgame, right? We think that he is, but we're not sure. Okay, yes, this was it. It was either trust Jack and go with him to the court, hoping he wasn't lying to me, or go with Arya and Caleb, who were part of a group who, whatever else was true about them, had protected this planet and everyone on it for centuries. I do want to pause really quick to make one comment here. I feel like MC is like Morgan is being way too trusting of Endgame just because they have just because they're associated with the government. It's like governments have been involved in more corruption than almost any. Governments are generally they have some level of corruption beyond the surface level. I and I know she's still young, so she may not, it's natural to trust like an authority figure when you're younger, but it is kind of a little alarming how because of that she seems to, sort of be giving them a pass. Sorry, Jack. I couldn't go with him. I would just wait here for Ari and Caleb to catch up to us. Righting my chair, I sat down and let my head flop onto the table with a groan. I lay there long enough to drift off before Jack returned. Well, I'm glad to see you're still here. The sound of his voice dragged me back into the world of the waking. I made a grunt of acknowledgement, opening my eyes to stare sideways at the wall next to our table. A little twinge of guilt gnawed at me. You said I wouldn't be able to steal your car anyway. So you thought about trying it? Yes. I have to admit, I appreciate your honesty. I don't know where I would go anyway. I don't know how to get home from here, and I don't know what I'd do when I got there. Like you said, more people will come after me. Which just meant the life I'd known until now was gone, no matter what I chose to do. You okay? Yeah, just headache. Why don't we get you something to eat? And where the hell's the coffee? His words cut off abruptly, causing me to look up. Sorry to keep you waiting. Okay, hi Caleb. Was he wearing this last time we saw him? Maybe he was and I didn't even take note, but that's flashy. Two cups slid onto the table, but my eyes went wide when I saw who was the one putting them there. That hadn't taken long. And don't believe everything this liar tells you. He was sporting a fresh cut along the side of his eye, a spiderweb of blue and green branching out, evidence of the expanded nanosystem busy regenerating the cells and healing the injury. But Caleb looked rather well for someone who'd had a building collapse on his head. Jack seemed rather unfazed by Caleb showing up. His baffling response to this development was to pick up his coffee and take a sip. I'm almost glad to see you're kicking, Jack. It's been so long since you've been a pain in the ass, I thought maybe your boss got sick of you and tossed your body in the wastes. Well, damn. Not a chance. He's not like your boss. He doesn't just abandon people to die. What the heck does that mean? Caleb's jaw clenched, but he said nothing. Instead, he shot a glare my way. I flinched. What? We didn't do anything. As for you. He reached for my wrist and I instinctively tried to pull it away, even as he clamped some kind of device onto it. Excuse me? What the hell is this? Psi inhibitor. Looks like he doesn't want. Wait, sorry, this is Jack. Psi inhibitor. Looks like he doesn't want another building dropped on his head. Still gripping my wrist tightly, Caleb pulled me a little closer. I hope you realize that stunt you pulled nearly got us killed. If Ari had been a second too late. Dude, what do you expect? We literally don't know how to use our abilities. We didn't even know we were an Esper until, like, 24 hours ago, so we don't have control, and you put us in an insanely stressful situation. Caleb, let go. I don't even know how I did that, much less did I do it on purpose. I'm not sure I believe you. Caleb, I would have some choice words for you if this was not going on YouTube. If you don't want me to knock a building on your head, then maybe don't kidnap me. I slammed my free hand into his shoulder. He scowled at me, but I was tired and scared, and this stupid man was on top of my list of people I was mad at. I'd already decided to go with them, even though I didn't like him. Why was he being a jerk? He grabbed my arm, pinning both wrists to the table in front of me. Will you be quiet? I struggled to free myself. Let me go. I was vaguely aware of Jack sort of laughing under his breath, and I shot him a glare, suddenly wanting to hit him, too. He attempted to not look amused. Oh my god, I feel so bad for Morgan right now. He failed. I glared at him, tears stinging my eyes because everything hurt and I was so tired of all this. Don't start that crying nonsense. Then don't kidnap me. The tears spilled over and I wasn't sure if it was because he'd said no to, or wait, and I wasn't sure if it was because he'd said no to, or if it was just because the energy had to go somewhere. Oh, said not to. Sorry. And since I couldn't strangle anyone, I was going to cry. Caleb, I may have warped the space around this table, but it would be better if you made some attempt to not create a disturbance. Oh, Ari! Ari's outfit is different too. They both look. The white and black theme is interesting. Huh. I let out a frantic squeak as Ari appeared out of thin air. I mean, I knew he could do that, but that didn't mean it prepared me for him popping in and out of nothingness. I'm not the one shouting. I knew you'd be lurking around here somewhere, Sticks. He calls Ari Sticks? I wonder why that is. They gave me a pause, not because it was kind of a weird nickname, but also because it was a nickname at all. I got this feeling before, but do you, the three of you, know each other? I'm afraid so, Butterfly. Ari looked down at me, taking in what I assumed was my rather woeful appearance. He shot Caleb a disparaging look. You made her cry. Thank you, Ari. At least someone cares. Don't give me that, and stop acting like you're not involved. I, at least, had done nothing but help her out today. If you hadn't been skulking around, we wouldn't have had to take such drastic measures in the first place. If I hadn't been skulking around, you wouldn't have even known about her. Really? I shot him a poisoned look when he said that. So this is all your fault? You somehow neglected to tell me that earlier. If they had known about me because of him, did that mean everyone else found me because of him? Hey, now I told you I'm just trying to help you. Too bad that's a lie. Oh? And the two of you are here out of the kindness of your hearts. I don't have time for this. She's coming with us, Jack. And you can go back to your boss or go to hell. Your pick. How do these guys know each other? And if I have no intention of letting you take her? You really think you can do anything about it? Will you stop talking about me like I'm an object? I decide where I go and who I go there with. My voice rose to a shout and the window next to me rattled in the pane. Oh, we're about to have another moment. I apologize for breaking into this discussion, but word from the tower is that several others are closing in on this location. They believe at least one of them is from Nyx. Others are unknown affiliation. It may be the woman from before. Nyx? Just how many groups of psychos are after me right now? Far too many for you to be safe with anyone but us. I don't know that I believe that either, Ari. Because y'all just, like, kidnapped her off the street. If you really wanted to protect MC, you could have, oh, I don't know, knocked on her door and explained the situation? I couldn't deny that seemed like it was the case. Well, looks like you made up your mind. I shot him an apologetic look. Don't look at me like that, Butterfly. You have to do what's best for yourself. Oh, that's so sweet. Now I kind of wish we were on Jack's route. But unfortunately, so do I. Okay, maybe not. What? The three of them all moved at the same time. I take it back. And all I caught was a blur of movement as Caleb tackled Jack, and Ari yanked me out of my seat and towards him. Her weapon went off, and the back of my chair exploded. Excuse me? Did Jack just try to kill us? I crashed into Ari, who pulled me into an awkward, tangled semi-embrace. What had just happened? I took a moment to realize Jack had been the one to fire a weapon at me. Oh my god. See, right when I let my guard down and trust him. What? We're going. Yeah. I wasn't sure why I felt so betrayed, but I didn't have time to think about it. I can't believe Jack. Like, right after I was like, oh, I wish I was on his route. He's so nice. He literally tries to shoot us dead. The world twisted and we left the fighting behind, staggering out into an alley that probably wasn't too far away. I staggered away from him, still not quite used to that. I apologized. I know you wish to choose who you aligned with. This isn't a choice we can afford to give you. Really? I'd already decided when I realized the two of you would find us. You may be kidnappers, but at least the two of you never tried to harm me. I do not believe Jack shot you by choice. He was likely under orders too. Are you defending him? Aren't you people enemies? And that does make me concerned about Ari's priorities too, because if he thinks that it's justified for that man to shoot Morgan just because he was on orders, what happens when someone gives him orders to do the same thing? Things are not always as simple as enemies and allies. Yeah, well, say that again after he tries to shoot you. There was no way Jack believed he would hit you with Caleb and I standing right there. I don't get you people at all. Okay. So this guy has a very big gun, and it looks like he's wearing some sort of sunglasses, even though it's night outside, which is, never a good sign. I hate to interrupt the two of you, but we've been waiting an awful long time, and would like to just get this over with. Ari and I whirled around to find several people in suits just behind us, all with weapons drawn. How are they finding us? Endgame isn't the only one with competent bishops. Precognition. They must have someone with a foresight ability. So they just knew where we'd be and when? How do you fight against something like that? It is a troubling ability. But like you indicated, Mr. Suit, Endgame has bishops of its own. This time it was a woman who stepped... Oh, sorry, that should have been a woman's voice. I'm so sorry. This time it was a woman who stepped around the corner behind the suits. She had a smirk on her face and was wearing a white and black uniform. Hey, girl! She looks pretty cool, too. Oh, look at this! Like, two of her fingers are gloved, but she doesn't have, like, a full glove on. I wonder what that, the significance there. One man kept his gun on us, while two others trained their weapons on her. Vanessa, your timing is impeccable as usual. I try. So, what are you lads going to do? If you stand fight, I assure you that you'll lose. But I'm feeling pretty generous, so if you run, we won't stop you. I'd pick my fights wisely. If your bishop wasn't aware ours would be here, you may wish to consider that we're more prepared for this standoff than you are. For instance, the snipers. That set off a mild panic among the suits as one craned his neck, trying to spot where anyone else might be hiding. The one man just stared at us, looking like he might try to stand his ground. But a split second later, there was a painful flash, and they were gone. They ran away. Is that not what you wanted? Well, it is, sort of. She came towards two of us, looking us up and down. Anyway, you two look terrible. It's been a long day. For you, not over. Get back to Caleb and get him out of here. Or out of there. We'll get this one back to the tower. Okay. So the tower is, I guess, Cor Solaris? Solaris? Yeah, Cor Solaris. The headquarters of Endgame. Ah, okay. It is a massive complex located in a neutral territory between New Albion and Silene. Cor Solaris it lies at the center of a domed city called Bracel? Oh my gosh. I don't know how I got the first word. It looks like Bracel. It is not just a single tower, but a sprawling complex where the members of Endgame live, train, and work. A large tower dominates the skyline of Bracel and is the largest complex in the city with much of the population living there or working there. Huh. So is the whole city pretty much run by Endgame or employed by Endgame in some capacity then? Jack? Leave him. Merlin's orders. Merlin? Your boss is named Merlin? Okay. And Ari? At this point, everyone knows we have the queen. No need for secrecy. I understand. Merlin? Thank you, MC. Thank you. Ari vanished, leaving me with the woman he called Vanessa. He's the boss. And you look like you're about to pass out. I swayed just as she said it, but she sidled alongside me to offer support. So these people really were from Endgame. Is it over? It felt like every ounce of energy was just flowing away from me. I didn't know if it was because it felt like I would finally be safe, or if she was doing something to me. Well, might be more accurate to say everything is just getting started. But you just get some sleep for now, and when you wake up, I promise things will be better than this. Aww. And with that, everything went black. I I like Vanessa. She seems pretty cool, pretty down to earth. Okay. So I think we're gonna go ahead and end the episode here. It's we've we've had some developments. Finally, we are making some progress. We're out of the common route. At least I believe we are. I mean, technically, we're not on the because I know if this follows the same structure as Changeling, like the chapters will literally tell you whose route you're on, and so I know technically we're still in the common route, but at this point we have chosen that we're gonna end up on either Caleb or Ari's route since we chose the endgame characters. Unless there's another endgame character that I'm not aware of, which we'll see. But yeah, it's been interesting. I still can't believe Jack tried to shoot us. Like right when I was like, "Oh, he's being such a sweetheart." Way to make me look gullible. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the episode here. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.